We are here at the G20 Summit on the second day. I'm here with Save the Children's Kate. Kate, how has the G20 incorporated some of the aspects of the UK's G8 into their agenda this year?
Well, since the G8 Summit, the G20 has also been talking quite a lot about tax and transparency in particular. The G20 finance ministers met a few months ago and agreed on an action plan to make sure that the operations of multinational companies are more transparent and that governments in the G20 exchange information on how different corporations are operating in their jurisdictions, so that governments have the information they need to make sure that they're collecting the revenues that are owed to them in their domestic jurisdictions. And what the G20 did was sort of take that principles that were agreed at the G8 and agree them right across every country in the G20. So that's now cooperation on a much greater scale, which is a really good thing. But the next thing that needs to happen, and that a lot of us have been talking to G20 officials about, is making sure that those agreements also benefit developing countries who are not part of the G20.
Yeah, speaking of benefiting developing countries that aren't part of the G20, the G20 yesterday released their development outlook. What does this look like?
So this is, it's called a development outlook, but it's the G20's new agenda for development. Their current agenda expires this year, so it's really exciting that the G20 has agreed to maintain an agenda specifically on development issues in the world. And what they've done is kind of narrowed down their focus a little bit. It was a little bit unwieldy until now. They've agreed on 5 major areas for focus in the coming years. So it's a broad agenda still, but has some really key important issues like tax, food security and nutrition.